Grant Morrison. Yes, welcome back to Stacktastic, the weekly web show for the avid comic book reader and those who aspire to become so. Today is, you guessed it, another edition of Opinionation, where I share my thoughts on the latest comics I've been reading, including the now infamous Batman Incorporated number 8. A comic so popular that when I got back from vacation on Thursday, it was already sold out at Midtown Comics, and I had to read it on Comixology. And as you listen to my thoughts, I hope you'll share your own in the comments down below. Plus, as always, my weekly recommendations of what comics to pick up or download this week. Let's get started. You know, like it wasn't bad enough that Brian Michael Bendis has basically given Emma Frost a lobotomy over in the pages of All New X-Men and Uncanny X-Men. Now her DC male counterpart Damian Wayne has kicked the bucket. So that means in about the span of a month, my two favorite characters, gone. Now, some of you might be thinking, hey Grace, weren't you upset that nobody died at the end of Death of the Family? Stop being a hypocrite. And I would say touche, and I still think someone should have died at the end of Death of the Family, but not Damian Wayne, and the reasoning behind both is the same. As a reader, I find it incredibly frustrating that the status quo in comics never really changes. Every time it seems like a character might show some growth, Superboy punches a hole in a wall and we hit reset. And Damian represented change. Hell, maybe that's why the higher-ups felt he needed to go. See, when I read the recent Batman and Robin number 17, it became clear to me just how monumental an addition Damian has been to the Batman universe. Peter Tomasi did a brilliant job exploring how Bruce Wayne having a son provided a ray of light into a world darkened by the murder of his parents. Grant Morrison's insistence on killing his creation robs us of all those potential new stories while giving us a retread of something we've already seen Batman suffer, the heart-wrenching loss of his family. Not to mention the nice dynamic that was developing between Dick Grayson and Damian as well, especially at the very end. Plus, really, another dead Robin story? I know that the Jason Todd story is iconic, but with first Stephanie Brown and now Damian, it seems as if a Robin's days are numbered as soon as he or she dons the R. Nods to previous stories and themes are great, but just take a look at Superman Returns. Homages never measure up to the originals. I'd also like to add that while DC is now rolling out some pretty sweet Damian is Dead covers, I wish they'd made this kind of effort when the character was alive. Yes, it seems DC is quick to kill off anything these days that requires even a little bit of work to make it succeed. Finally, while I'm willing to bet money that somebody's going to eventually plunk Damian into a Lazarus pit, he deserved better than a single-issue death in a secondary title. I miss you already, little punk warrior. Speaking of change, there is a glimmer of hope in the New 52 as Steve Trevor and Amanda Waller see their roles continue to expand, most notably in Justice League of America number 1, but Waller has also shown up recently in the Throne of Atlantis crossover and the Vibe one-shot. But if DC wants these characters to reach Jim Gordon-level status, it would serve them well to show more of Trevor and Waller's personal lives instead of confining them to their His Girl Friday routine. Remember Gordon's affair in Batman Year 1? Good stuff. Everyone I've talked to agrees Saga is amazingly addictive, even though nothing ever really happens. Nobody has been more skeptical of Marvel's big gamble on Guardians of the Galaxy than I, yet I saw some real potential in Brian Michael Bendis and Steve McNiven's Point One issue. However, I don't understand why a company known for its synergy is depicting Peter Quill as a serious heartthrob on the page, while Chris Pratt has been cast to play him in the movie. I mean, first of all, abs or no abs, when you pair Pratt with a talking raccoon, you get an all-ages family movie more akin to Journey to the Center of the Earth than the Avengers. Second, Pratt's biggest asset besides his comedic timing is his heart, and that's nowhere to be found in this new Guardians of the Galaxy. Come to think of it, this reminds me a lot of DC's Shazam reboot. I wonder if the new Peter Quill and Billy Batson ran into each other at Juvie. I think that the Scarlet Witch's powers might be too complicated and obscure for her to be a lead character. Plus, is it just me, or does every female character in mainstream comics have the exact same voice these days? I'm super curious as to what behind-the-scenes business deals are making DC Comics push Katana so hard as a lead character. Is it simply because she's in the new Beware the Batman animated series? I mean, who chose her for that in the first place? And if they're looking for an Asian assassin, what's wrong with Lady Shiva? Besides her new costume, of course. Now let's turn our attention to comics hitting shelves this week. The Rot World crossover event is over, so if like me you lost interest during that event, now might be the time to circle back as the focus returns solely to the Baker family, which is what initially made Animal Man one of the best New 52 titles. Then over at Marvel, it's the Age of Ultron. This is the House of Ideas' first big event of 2013, and to celebrate, they're breaking out the foil cover. And over on All New X-Men, the Avengers finally get to meet our time-jumping X-Babies. Will we finally get to see Jean Grey in action again? It's been a long time since she's been on the battlefield. Also, if you're a fan of Jim McCann and Janet Leigh's work, check out their new book from Image, Lost Vegas. It's Gambling in Space. Finally, Archie Comics continues to think outside the box with impressive creativity, this time pairing up their iconic characters with TV's Glee. Maybe Jughead will stop teasing Veronica when he discovers Rachel Berry is so much more insufferable. And that's this week's Stacktastic. I'm Grace Randolph for Think About the Ink and hope to see you back on Friday for Between the Pages. Until then, happy reading.